Amanpour in London. After weeks of fact-finding behind closed doors, the House is gearing up to vote on the best way to present its impeachment inquiry to the public, in what will likely be Act 2 of the investigation into the president's alleged quid pro quo with Ukraine. The gathering political storm comes amid a flurry of damning testimonies from top officials. Most recently, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, the Ukraine expert on the National Security Council, who listened in on the phone call between President Trump and the Ukrainian President Zelensky, and said the White House omitted details of the calls in its transcript. Today, two more diplomats take the stand, Christopher Anderson and Catherine Croft. Both worked for Trump's former envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker, who helped the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, contact Ukrainian officials close to President Zelensky. Now, former Defense Secretary William Cohen has been closely watching these hearings. He's a member of the Judiciary Committee during the Watergate hearings. He was one of the handful of Republicans who actually voted for President Nixon's impeachment. And now he's calling for politicians on both sides of the aisle to put country before party as they evaluate the current evidence. And he's joining me now from Washington. Secretary Cohen, welcome to the program.
Good to be with you.
So can I ask you, first and foremost, do you think the House and the Senate are in fact going to, or have they showed any evidence that they're putting country before politics?
I think some of them are. I believe the Democrats who are now leading in the House are trying to get at all of the facts as best they can. I think they've gone about it the right way, and that is to have private hearings or secret hearings in order to make sure nothing that is classified comes out in open testimony. That's what happened during the Watergate era, where the Watergate Committee had private hearings before they went public. And as a result of those public hearings, it certainly educated the American people in terms of what was at stake. And then it came over to the House of Representatives. We conducted almost all of our hearings in private and only went public when we started to debate the articles of impeachment. So there's kind of a hybrid here because there was no Senate Watergate Committee investigating, a Watergate-type committee investigating the President Trump and his actions. And so it's a hybrid now where the House has been required to go and dig out some of the facts before they go public, and then they'll go public, I assume, within the next 2 weeks.
So it's very interesting that you are really, hammering this fact that they have been doing their job behind closed doors because they needed to get all the relevant facts before they could go public. I mean, I assume you're saying that to answer the chorus of criticism from the Republicans and from members of President Trump's base that this is somehow, as he says it, a kangaroo process with everything happening in a non-transparent way.
Well, like much of else what is being said, it's false. Number one, Republicans have been in the hearings behind closed doors. And the spectacle that we saw last week with 40 or 50 Republicans storming the Intelligence Committee room was just that. It was a spectacle, because many of those who were storming the doors actually had seats on the inside and could have sat there if they hadn't at any time during the course of all of these hearings. So I think it was more for a show. It had little to do with the facts, and the facts were being gathered by Republicans behind closed doors as well as a Democratic majority. And so now we'll go public, and I think it's really important. It's not enough to have Robert Mueller just read from his testimony what he had gathered as his findings. It's really important that those who have key information go before the American people, be subjected to critical examination and cross-examination so the American public can understand what's at stake. And what's at stake is the rule of law.